What do you mean by ERS? ERS is nothing but like evaluated receipt settlement. So evaluated receipt settlement is nothing but like, okay, it will be automatically create an invoice, okay, without interfering to creating manually. That means if see a few vendors, we are regular vendors, so we don't have any objection with that vendor. They are okay to proceed that invoice automatically without receiving the invoice from vendor. That means we are not expecting any invoice from this vendor because we have the good relationship. Then what we can do, once we completed a year, we can automatically generate the invoice in the background, okay, and we'll pay the amount immediately. So basically, we don't need to receive the invoice copy from vendor. Hope you understand it. సో ఎటువంటి ఇన్వాయిస్ మనం రిసీవ్ చేసుకోకుండా వెండర్ నుంచి మనం ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఒక ఇన్వాయిస్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాం అన్నమాట. మనకి పిఓ క్రియేట్ చేసిన దాని ప్రకారము జిఆర్ క్రియేట్ చేసిన దాని ప్రకారం రెండు కంపేర్ చేసుకుని సిస్టమ్ ఏం చేస్తుందంటే ద ఇన్వాయిస్ ఆటోమేటిక్గా సిస్టమ్ విల్ జనరేట్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద కాల్డ్ ఎవాల్యుయేటెడ్ రిసిప్ట్ సెటిల్మెంట్. దట్ మీన్స్ వీ డోంట్ నీడ్ ఎనీ ఫర్దర్ ఇన్వాయిస్ ఫ్రమ్ వెండర్. We will clear automatically based on our relationship. Okay, vendor ki మనకు ఉన్న ఆ రిలేషన్షిప్ ప్రకారం మేము ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఇన్వాయిస్ ని క్లియర్ చేస్తాం. ఓకే, సో ఇక్కడ మనకి ప్రాసెస్ వైజ్గా చూసుకుంటే, ఓకే, స్టెప్ 1 is we will create a purchase order. So it is casual, normal process, standard purchase order. Okay, and the step 2 is we will do the goods receipt. Okay, and step 3 is we will not create any invoice here. Automatic ERS settlement. Okay, so that we will generate that we will be running that. Okay, so that means we will not run any invoice here. In MRRL generally how we will do, we will create the invoice, right? So here we don't need to create the invoice. System will automatically generate the invoice and paying the amount. So the transaction codes, which is for the purchase order ME21N, which is standard, and goods receipt, which is for MIGO. The transaction code is MIGO, right? So and invoice receipt, that means ERS, evaluated receipt settlement. Okay, we will clear from the which transaction code we are clearing? MRRL. Okay, so MRRS and MRRL, there will be two transaction codes. So okay, we will do the MRRL. Okay, okay, let's see that how we can proceed further. Okay, why we need ERS here? Why we need to create ERS? Because to avoid the delaying of the settlements. That means once we receive the goods, once again we receive the invoice, and again we do the verification, then we are settling that, we are paying that. Okay, this is taking a long time, right? So the advantages are we can quickly we can quickly close those purchase orders, right? That means we can close these invoices without any receiving the invoices. Okay, and what are the advantages here? If you find this, what are the advantages for the ERS is, okay, POs will close quickly, right? Why? Because we don't need to be verify the invoice and do the payments, right, separately. So it is automatically invoice will be generated, and there is no variation. That means no price and quantity variation. That means how much you received, how much invoice you received, again the comparison between that. Okay, so no price and quantity variation. Why? Because whatever it is we are received that GR. So as per the PO price, we are agreeing that we are paying that amount. Okay, and we don't need to receive the invoice separate. We don't need to receive the invoices, right? And communications can be avoided. That means sometimes maybe because of the output, maybe the invoice they generated wrongly, or it might be we are verifying wrongly. So those cases are there, right? So communications we can easily avoid it. Can be avoided. Okay, right? So these are the advantages of the ERS. Okay, now what are the prerequisites for this one? If you want to implement this one ERS system, the system SAP how it will be the system will understand that okay whether this PO I should go for the evaluated receipt settlement or manual invoice. Okay, so there are some prerequisites are required. Okay, so those one is at master data level. Okay, let's go to prerequisites. Right, prerequisites. So one is in vendor master record. You need to select that evaluated receipt settlement. Okay, you have to activate that. Okay, there is a checkbox is there. Check the ERS box. Okay, this is in vendor master record, and the second one is okay GRIR indicator. Okay, so GRIR indicator and ERS indicator should be activated in PO. Okay, and third one is tax code should be maintained for this. Why? Because we are automatically generating, right? So we are automatically generating these invoices, right? So the tax codes obviously it will come from the PO. So tax code must be activated, must be entered in the PO, right? So these are three prerequisites are mandatory. Okay, and other than that, output determination, output configuration must be configuration is required for automatic ERS outprint. Okay, that means this output configuration is for to print out the automatic invoice which is already cleared, right? So those we need to be print, right? So for that the output configuration which is required. So this topic as of now we didn't cover. Okay, since this is a separate topic. Okay, I will explain later. Then let's go to the one by one how we can do. Okay, hope it you are clear, right? What do you mean by ERS and why we need to do ERS and the process steps. Today we are discussing about ERS. This was a new topic, evaluated receipt settlement. Okay, the purpose of evaluated receipt settlement is automatic invoice generated without receiving any invoice from vendor. Okay, so that means we don't need to receive the invoice after receiving the GR. That means goods from the vendor. Okay, the system automatically generating the invoice in the background. Okay, based on our PO price and GR quantity, the comparison. Okay, so from PO we already have the price and how much we ordered, and GR how much quantity you received. So the price and quantity both it will be received from the PO and GR. Then the system will automatically create the invoice in the background. Okay, so why we need to do this ERS? Because might be we have good relationship between the vendor and our company. Okay, we both have the agreed Okay, we don't need to receive any further invoice from the vendors. Okay, we will clear automatically as per the agreed in the PO price. Right. So why what are the advantages for this ERS? Okay, we can close quickly the PO once you receive the goods receipt. We can immediately generating the invoice and paying the amount. That means on a regular basis, or we can pay immediately, and there is no variation between the PO and invoices. Why? Because it is automatically generating the invoice. So obviously the PO price which is already agreed in the PO, the same price you are paying, and we don't need to receive the invoice. That means further delay means sometimes we didn't receive the invoice, maybe verification will be take long time, so those don't require. And the communication service means maybe in the PO price we agreed that 100 rupees, then invoice they send 120 rupees. Okay, then there will be some communications, right? So that those communication errors will be avoided because the invoice will be generated automatically. Okay, these are the advantages. And the process is, once we create the purchase order, we will receive the goods. Okay, and from PO the price will be calculated. Okay, and in GR how much quantity you received. Okay, that means this price and quantity, that amount you are paying automatically in invoice with the tax. Now what are the prerequisites for this? In the vendor master record, you need to select that evaluated receipt settlement checkbox. Okay, and in the PO, GRIR indicator must be indicator, and ERS. Okay, and tax code must be entered. Tax code must be entered in the PO. Why? Because we don't have invoice here to enter the tax code again. So because of that reason, we are entering tax code at PO level only. Okay, so it is mandatory. Clear? Now let's go to the creation of PO. Okay, so let's go to the vendor first. What is the transaction code for the vendor master record? XK03 or MK03 or MK whatever you can go, right? So let's see. I have the vendor. Okay, let's see what is the vendor we have. What are the vendors we have? So let's see our material number. Okay. So the material number is I think P00 is there, right? So 500 grams. Okay. So let's see this. So 11 is our vendor. Okay. Let's see 11 is there. Okay. And 1000 and 1000. Okay. And I'm just selecting that purchasing data. Okay. If here you can see that there is a automatic evaluation GR settlement is there. Okay. You have to select these two. Okay. So let's go to the change. Okay, and select these two. Okay, so in the vendor master record, purchasing data, automatic evaluation, GR settlement, deletion, and determine and retain. Okay, so both you need to select and save. So just write down. Okay, in the vendor master record, purchasing data, you have to select the automatic evaluation, GR settlement checkbox. You have to select. Okay, so when you selected this one, okay, this is the ERS. Okay, then automatic generation of invoices according to the plan. Okay, so automatic invoice generator will be planned automatically once you selected these two. Okay, now I'm just saving this one. Okay, and so here you can see that GR based IV required for automatic GR settlement. That means, so What do you mean by GR based IV? Goods GR based IV. That means whatever you receiving the stock, based on the receiving the stock, you are verifying the invoice, right? So if you have selected this one, the system will automatically verify the invoice in the background based on the GR quantity. Okay, I'm just selecting GR based IV also, it's mandatory. Okay, clear? Enter. Okay, so I just updated. This is my 11 Amazon India. So I don't need to receive any invoice from the Amazon India. Okay, we can automatically settle the invoices once we receive the goods. Okay, now let's create a purchase order. Okay, assuming that, okay, and PO quantity is 150 and the price is 70 rupees. Okay, now go to invoice tab. Okay, here if you see that ERS checkbox should be mandatory. Okay, and GR based IV is a mandatory. Okay, now see here, if you click on check, it will show you that, okay, in case of evaluated receipt settlement, please enter the tax code. So ERS tax code is mandatory. Okay, and the conditions as well, terms of payment terms also is mandatory. So let's say I enter zero tax. Okay, and I'm entering that payment terms as well. Why? Because I'm not creating invoice anything, so I will enter all these payment terms, everything in PO level. Okay, check. Okay, and I hope there is no issue here. We can create a purchase order. Okay, so in PO, ERS and GR based IV must be selected. Clear? So check and save. Can I go ahead? I'm just creating the purchase order. So this is the purchase order number. Okay, and so just in mind. Okay, this is the ERS purchase order. So that means we don't need to receive any invoice further. Okay, so I'm receiving the stock MIGO. Goods receipt purchase order. Okay, and 101 movement type. Okay, then item okay, and which location you want to receive, and if you have a goods recipient from Raju or something, and whatever you can enter the required details and click on check. Okay, the posting periods which is 0 to 01, as I said, right? So every month we have to open our month period, right? Okay, every month we have to open the posting periods, right? So which transaction code we are opening? MM. So 1000. Okay, and 01 and 2022. Sorry, this is a 03. Right? So March month I have to open. Now it is in the it is there in the 0201. That means it is opened February month. It is not opened March. I'm just opening this March month. Okay, now it's completed. Now I'm just going to check again. The document is posted here. Okay. So now, do we need to do invoice here? No, we don't require. Why? Because this, if you see that in PO, okay, in invoice tab, this is the ERS, evaluated receipt settlement. So you don't need to create the invoice here. Okay. Okay. So you have the transaction code MRRL. Okay. The evaluated receipt settlement with logistical systems. Okay, here you can enter your PO number and you can generate here. Okay, so the transaction code is MRRL. Okay, MRRL, and you are entering that company code, vendor, and the purchasing document, all these things, and you can even you can do the test run as well, or you can directly settle that. Okay, so there is a first you can select the test run and check that if you are getting any problems here. Okay, and if you are getting all this, then you can remove this text run and you can settle the goods items, select the goods items. Okay, then execute this one. Okay, now if everything it is fine, there is no problem, then the FI document will be generated automatically. The invoice document which is generated automatically here. Okay, the invoice document is generated automatically and the FI document will be generated automatically. So the first time when you are running, you have to select the text run and execute. Okay, whether it is getting or not. That means everything it is good or not. You just check that PO number, GR document number, everything. Then you have to remove this text run. Then select the settle goods items. Then plan the then select this one and run. Then the system will automatically create the invoice in background. So the text run is for initially you have to check this one. Why? Because to test that it is working or not, whether you are getting PO number or GR number all. So you can do the test run. So in text run, it won't be generate any FI document. It won't be generate any invoice document. You have to remove this text run and you have to select this settle goods items, plan delivery cost. And okay, and this is my purchase order number. Okay, I can see in the purchase order history. Okay, the GR document number and invoice document number both it is posted. So I have not created it manually this work. The invoice, it is automatically created from MRRL. This is the MRRL, is the transaction code to generate automatically the invoice. Clear? And there is a MRRS also. There is a transaction code MRRS also. Okay. There is one more transaction code MRRS. What we can do here, we can run the job in the background. So I will tell you about that. What is the job? Okay. Suppose, let's say today I have received 10 purchase orders. Okay. And the 10 purchase orders I have received. So I don't want to do manually this MRRL. Okay. The system should automatically generate the invoice in the background by using the job. That job we can schedule here using the MRRS. Okay. So just entering that the date or vendor or company code, or if you have the purchase order numbers, okay, those you can enter and you just save this one and you can run the background job. Okay, it will be happen every day. Okay, the system will automatically clearing the invoices in the background. So that means I don't need to enter the even MRRL also. We don't need to enter MRRL also manually. We can do the system automatically once the goods receipt is completed. Okay, when the job is running, okay, the system automatically generate the invoices. Okay, so we will talk about this background jobs in later, how it will be works. Okay, so this is the topic, evaluated receipt settlement. Once we generated this MRRL, that means this document is posted, right? So if you want to get the output, print out. Okay, say I just want to show that, okay, my invoice is to vendor. Okay, this is the invoice we are generated automatically. So you can use this MR90. Okay, MR90 using this one, you can generate the invoice here. MR90 is a transaction code to get the output. Output is nothing but like a printout. Okay, so if you want to take any printout, you can take it up. Okay, select this one and click on process. Okay, the output is processed. Here, if you can see that here, this is the output printout. Okay, that means it is like a receipt, like. Okay, so Amazon India and the invoice number and how much quantity you received. Okay, how much you settled So what is the total amount? Everything it will be there in the here. So this is the MR90. Clear? So this is the, it will come from the, if you see here, the message type is ERS. Okay, you can write down this one, message type is ERS. So based on this message type only, the output will be generated. Means the PO for purchase orders, this is the different message types. For GR, different message types. For evaluated receipt settlement, there is a different message type. Okay, so you can note down this one. The ERS is a message type. Okay, output device is nothing but like a which printer device configuration. Okay, and do you want to be cover this all printer everything? Okay, and print immediately, release after output. So these are all settings for the output determination